That smell hit me like a punch in the stomach just as Igor crossed the door of our apartment. It was not the aroma of the new soap he bought in Lithuania, nor the remnant of the cheap setter he left in the car. It was too familiar, suffocating, a perfume that did not belong to our routine. Stuck in his shirt like an invisible spot, a silent proof that I didn't want to see. When I hugged him, I felt the body tension. "New perfume?" I asked, pushing me with a forced smile. He blinked, clearly caught by surprise. "Oh, no, it must be from the taxi driver. Those pine stickers that they hang in the car, you know? Fire to the dam." I nodded as if that made sense, as if in the last 2 hours I had not analyzed every photo of the Instagram of Olga, especially that selfie on Gelendzhik Beach with the caption, "Restarting alone. Only me and the sea." But if you looked closely at the reflection of her sunglasses, you could see a big figure too well known. Igor, with his ridiculous gold chain and that faded Zenit cap I had already asked to play outside a million times. "My name is Daisy. I am 34 years old and, until recently, I considered me a smart woman. I really believed in my intuition, in those signs the body gives when something is wrong. But when your whole family looks in your eyes and, inquire, repeats that you are inventing things, even the safest person begins to doubt. "Are you okay, Rita?" My mother's voice echoed on her head like a warning. Igor threw the keys carefully on the entrance table. "I'm just tired," I muttered, passing him toward the kitchen. My hands trembled, so I grabbed the first bottle of wine I saw anything to occupy them. He followed me, leaning against the refrigerator in the casual way he always used when he wanted to seem relaxed. "Aren't you angry that I have lost dinner?" I shook my head. "Of course." He smiled, relieved. "I like how you are calmer lately. Before, you freaked out for anything." I filled the glass to the edge and took a long sip, like an exemplary wife. The next morning, I called Olga. "Hi, how are you? How was this reboot?" She laughed too loud, too forced. "Amazing. I really needed that time away from everything. The work was consuming me." "Where did you really go?" I asked, pretending disinterest. "In Gelendzhik, Salnechny Bereg Sanatorium." "You've been there, remember?" "Oh, yes, is that, look, in one of the photos there is a guy in the background that looks like Igor." Silence. Then an explosive laugh. "Seriously, Rita? You don't really change. Always with this paranoia. My God, Daisy, when are you going to stop it?" I swallowed. "Sorry, I walk a little sensitive." "No, okay, I understand. You're very emotional." I hung up and sat on the edge of the bed, fixing the void. Sensitive, always that word when I ask questions that bother. Sensitive, dramatic, hysterical. I called my mother. "Mom, don't you find it strange for Olga to have traveled alone and not tell anyone?" "She said it was alone, Daisy," he cut me, with that tone that admitted no replica. "You always had problems with confidence. See betrayal where it doesn't exist." I bit my lip, even hurt. "It's just that I have a feeling that something is happening. Even if I'm sure it's nothing serious. Not inventing a problem." That night I started a notebook. Nothing poetic, just raw facts. Schedules, dates, prints. I needed evidence that could not be distorted or ignored. March 3rd, Igor said he was in Kras to Nodar at a meeting. Olga posted a picture on a bar on the terrace of Sochi. Even sunset. March 10th, Igor smelled of the coconut. Olga posted stories with a new coconut moisturizer. March 15th, I found a pink elastic in the glove car. I don't use pink. I didn't tell anyone about that ca. Durno. Not even to Janja, my best friend. Not yet. I needed more. I needed sure. A week later, we were all at my sister Natalia's summer house. The traditional family dinner. My parents, Igor, Olga, Andrei. I observed each one with sick care. As Igor and Olga avoided looking, how my mother changed the subject whenever I opened my mouth. As Natalia checked the cell phone every 2 minutes, as if waiting an urgent message. "You are very quiet," commented my father, passing the mashed potatoes. "Just tired. I'm not sleeping well yet." My mother worked, touching my hand. You should look for a psychologist, honey. Or do yoga. Before you were so balanced. I smiled, agreeing. You are right. Igor looked at me aside, trying to decipher if I had swallowed the story. After dinner, I apologized and went to the bathroom. Olga's bag was open on the counter. I peered inside. Lipstick, keys, a crumpled hotel proof. Gelendzhik. 2 nights. Room with double bed. I photographed everything, replaced everything in place and leaves as if nothing had happened. At night, I sent a message to Janja, we need to talk. She called on time. What it was? I think Igor is cheating on me. Silence. With whom? I hesitated. With Olga. Another silence. Then, Rita, you know how it sounds. I know. But I have proof. Evidence or suspicion? For now, suspicions. But I'll get evidence. I hung up and stayed in the dark, rolling the Olga Instagram again. I increased the photo of the beach. This time, the reflection was clear, Zenit's cap, the current, the profile. Everything beat. I saved the image in a folder called Truth. I'm not crazy. I am not a hysterical. They are very good at lying. The next day, I showed the phone to Olga, with the photo enlarged right in front of her face. What is that? He asked, his lips ajar. You tell me. She looked at the image, the glasses, the figure behind her. The face writhed. It's not him. Are you sure? Because this cap is the same as what Igor wears, the one he says luck. You're crazy. She backed down like I had slapped her. Always do that, invent things and drag everyone. I'm just asking a question. No, you're accusing me again. Do you have any idea how much I struggled to improve our relationship? And now that. I crossed my arms. Did you go to Gelendzhik with my husband? I didn't go. He shouted, between tears. You're sick, Daisy. You need help. I laughed unintentionally. It was ironic to hear this from a woman who lied while crying. She left knocking on the door so hard that the cups in the closet trembled. I stood in the middle of the room, my heart fired, shaking hands, no doubt, but of anger. At night I found Janja at Miu Miu, near the subway. She slid on the couch in front of me, studying my face. You are terrible. I'm not sleeping. I extended my cell phone. She flipped the photos, the prints, the dates, the hotel voucher. Fuck, he whispered. It's ugly the thing. Guess what does my family think? I let go, bitter. That you are freaking out. She took a sip of coffee, then leaned. You need concrete evidence. No crumbs, a whole bread. I don't know where to get it, but I have a contact. A former political division police officer. Today works with private investigations, especially cybercrimes, but understands that kind of thing. It's reliable. I raised the eyebrow. Serious? Do you think I would play with it? That's how I met Mikhail. Mikhail Viktorovich appeared at my door 2 days later. Tall, wide shoulders, a hoarse voice of those who smiled too much, and a look that made you want to confess to the sins you didn't even commit. It only wore jeans and a black t-shirt, as if it didn't care about the impression it made, and that's exactly what made him convincing. Margarita, Jean had warned me. He wastes no time with delicacies. And did not lose. I need evidence against my husband and my sister, he said, straight to the point. Not suspicious. Facts. He nodded, his dark eyes fixed on mine. Money has it. I have. Time will also need. We sat at the kitchen table. I slid to him the folder with everything he had collected, ambiguous messages, suspicious receipts, dates that did not beat. Mikhail flipped the papers with clinical efficiency, as if he already knew what he was looking for. Most wait for the train to jump, he said, without raising his eyes. You want to prepare the explosion before lighting the wick. Exactly. I start with the list of calls, hotel cameras, GPS tracking. He closed the folder. Give me a week. He got up, but when he arrived at the door, he turned. Are you sure you want to know the truth? I swallowed. The question stopped in the air like a blade. If I didn't want to, I wouldn't be here. Mikhail just nodded, as if he already knew the answer. And in a way, I knew. A week later, The email arrived at work. Subject: delivery. I locked the office door before opening the annex. 6 photos. Igor and Olga at the counter of a hotel, interlaced fingers. Her head resting on his shoulder. A kiss on her neck inside the elevator. Date: November 17th. Our birthday. The weekend when he was allegedly in Anapa, at work. I looked at the screen until the eyes burn. Then I sent everything to my personal email and deleted the tracks from the company's computer. At night, I printed the photos and spread them on the bed. I spent hours studying their faces, the way they smiled, how they leaned against each other, that air of us are untouchable. In the morning, I called my mother. I want to talk. Of course, honey. Come whenever you want. I entered her apartment as if she carries a delayed effect pump in her bag. She served tea, sat in front of me, all as always. So normal that it hurt. I think I should apologize to Olya, I said softly. My mother's eyebrows rose. Serious? Were you wrong? He was. I smiled, bitter. I projected my fears in her. It was not fair. Mother melted into a smile. Glad you saw it, Rita. The family needs peace. She stretched her hand on the table and squeezed mine. We all want that. Repay the smile. Then I went to Olga's house. She opened the door with printed distrust on her face. What do you want? I apologize. Her eyes blinked. Why? For the trip, the photos, for letting the fear speak louder. I took a step forward, forcing her to back down. I'm trying to be better. More mature. Leave the past behind. She crossed her arms, still suspicious, as if waiting for a trap. Yeah, good to know. I leaned forward, lowering my voice. Transmit this to Igor too. Olga shuddered. I smiled. Until Sunday, at dinner. At home, I called Mikhail Viktorovich. Keep digging. Understood, it was all he said. Then I called my lawyer. Irina Andreevna, I'm ready to start the procedures. Divorce. Not only. The voice came firmly, like steel. I want everything they built at my expense will come down. She hesitated. Margarita, are you sure? I've never been so right in my life. The family dinner on Sunday was at Natasha's house, as always. The smell of garlic and wine took the kitchen, and her forced laughter echoed around the house like an annoying song. I entered with a bottle of wine and a smile that was not mine. Margarita. Natasha kissed me her cheek. You're radiant. So, serene. Meditation, Lee. Igor was already there, sitting next to Olga on the couch. They didn't play, but they were close enough for my stomach to turn. He looked at me and smiled, as if nothing had happened. Want a drink? Offered. Of course. I extended the bottle. Do you open? He nodded and went to the kitchen to get glasses. Olga followed him without saying a word. I turned them on. And for Andrei, who pretended to be absorbed on his cell phone. Hey. He raised his eyes, surprised. Ah, hi. All good. Excellent. He nodded and hid again behind the screen. We sat at the table, mother, father, Natasha, Andrei, Igor, Olga, and me. The space seemed both tight and too noisy. Mother served wine with a solemnity of those who distributed communion, smiling at me as if we were accomplices of some dirty secret. How are things at work? He asked. Races. Still in the same company? Dad interfered. For now. Natasha did not miss the chance to shine. Already, Olya. Your showroom is pumping. He just closed with a new investor. I raised an eyebrow. Serious? Olga showed a smile from all his teeth. Yes. Finally someone who believes in my potential. Igor grunted something in the glass. I turned to him slowly. Are you buying your part back? That's wonderful, I continued, sweet. I hope the investor is reliable. Of course it is, Olga fired, avoiding my gaze. I waited for dessert to launch the hook. I've been thinking a lot lately, I said, landing the fork. About forgiveness. Silence. That's good, Mother risked. I think I was very hard. Very suspicious. I smiled, sad. I want to fix things. Very adult decision, father approved. Igor covered my hand with yours. He felt his skin as strange, almost disgusting. I am proud of you. I allowed it. Thanks. Then I turned to Olga. I forgive you. She froze. Forgive why? I leaned my head. You know. Natasha coughed, nervous. I think we should. No. I cut. No more pretending. I got tired of lies. Olga laughed, tense. Rita, I swear I have no idea what you're talking about. I leaned back in the chair. I forgive you for having sex with my husband. Silence of grave. Igor choked. This is not funny. I'm not kidding. Mother got up, pale. Margarita, stop that. No, okay. Smiles. I already accepted. Father seemed to want to disappear on the floor. Andrei buried his face on the plate. I just want to move on, I continued. No secrets. Igor shook his head. This is absurd. I agree. I got up, raising the cup. Defining the family. To those who lie to you with a smile on your face. I cried my glass against Olga's. She didn't move. When dinner is over, Mother pulled me to a corner. What are you doing? Speaking the truth. You're just getting things worse. I approached, lowering my voice. How long have you known? She stiffened. What are you talking about? He looked around, then whispered. It's not that simple. How long? A heavy sigh. A few months. Maybe more. I backed away as if she had hit me. And didn't tell me. We didn't want to hurt you. I laugh, bitter. They didn't want to bother with me. I've always been too much for you. Too intense. She didn't deny it. Rita, it's not your fault. No, Mother. I smiled, cold. This time, you're right. I need to mature. And I left, without looking back. The next day I was in my lawyer's room. I want a lawsuit, I declared. Adultery. Deviation of money. Irina Andreevna raised an eyebrow. Do you have evidence? I'm getting it. We spend hours in the documents, line by line. I signed each page with a firm hand. At night, I called Mikhail Viktorovich. I need to check Igor's finances. I started, he said. You won't like what I found. Say. He has taken money from your joint account. Transfers to the Olga CNPJ. The heart sank. How much? 1.5 million. Maybe more. I closed my eyes. Keep digging. Understanding. I hung up and stayed in the dark, waiting for the dawn. Mikhail Viktorovich's message arrived with an annex, an audio. I pressed play. My mother's voice filled the cold and calculating room. Daisy must not move. She can't scope nothing about the inheritance. Paused. Then I turned on the recorder of my cell phone and reproduced again, recording each syllable. I saved the file with a simple name, Safe. It didn't just plan to overthrow their cards. It was going to spread salt on the ashes so that nothing could ever grow back on that poisoned soil. Do you think they suspect? Jean asked, throwing a grape in his mouth. We were in my car, parked in front of the boutique that Olga had opened 2 months earlier. That same boutique that, now I knew, was paid with my money. No, I said, without taking my eyes off the establishment. They think I gave up. That I finally became that silent and submissive version they always wanted. Jean looked at me aside. You're scary when I smiled like this. I just got tired of being polite. She hesitated. Are you really going to do that? I extended my cell phone to her. Listen. Jean pressed play. My mother's voice echoed again in the car, relentless. His eyes widened. Serious? She whispered, as if the air had been sucked from her lungs. This is like an audio-shaped heart attack. No, Karaji, keeping the phone. This is a crime scene. In the next 3 weeks, I interpreted my role to perfection. Family dinners, sweet messages for Igor, even a fictional session with a couple therapist, where I let him say how hard it was to be misunderstood. You're so strong, he said, extending his hand on the table, as if it were a prize for holding on his betrayals. Most women would have given up. I smiled. I'm not the majority. Meanwhile, Mikhail Viktorovich worked restlessly. He found suspicious transfers, counterfeit signatures, even an offshore company in Igor's name, used to launder money directly to Olga's showroom. "Will you report it?" he asked, sending me the last documents. "Not yet. First, I want to give a show. It will be ugly. Perfect." At the next family dinner, I took Jean. "To support," I explained. "She is helping me to rebuild me." My mother lit up. "How wonderful. It's good to have someone neutral around." Jean smiled, sweet as poison. "I'm just an observer." Igor leaned over at me, whispering, "You have been radiant lately. It must be peace. It's freedom, courage," with a smile that didn't come to the eyes. "I didn't say." He laughed, pleased. "To release is to break free." I nodded. "And the clarity is power." At night Mikhail Viktorovich sent me a meticulous spreadsheet. Each ruble diverted by Igor, each transfer to Olga, each counterfeit document. At the footer, a note, enough for fraud, diversion of funds and confidence abuse. "Let's go to the bank." I answered with a word, yes. The next day, I booked a ballroom in a restaurant. Private event, full service. I told the family that I wanted to celebrate my birthday. "I want us to be all together," I announced. "Without dramas, just love." They accepted, of course. They thought I had finally broken, that it would be the soft sheep they always wanted. "Meet me personally with the restaurant manager. I need the team to follow specific instructions. And some of them will not be exactly employees." He frowned. "Sorry." I slid a thick envelope on the table. "Paid by discretion and impeccable execution." His eyes widened when he saw the content. "Understanding." "I hired a cameraman. For the family album," I explained. "I detail the angles, the key moments, when the camera approaches." I told the full plan to Jean. "I need you to remain neutral. Smile, wave, be quiet." She sketched a sharp smile. I was born for that. Combined with Mikhail Viktorovich that he would be among the waiters. It would be the one who would deliver the documents. The night before dinner, I sat in the room, watching the envelope with the and Igor. Inside, the divorce papers, the complaint for fraud, the complete dossier. I didn't cry. I didn't hesitate. I put it in the bag and closed the zipper with a dry click. I dressed carefully. A black dress, blood-red lipstick, almost no accessory. I wanted to look like a woman in control, not a widow in her own wake. In the restaurant, the lighting was soft, intimate. Everyone arrived on time. Igor kissed my cheek. Olga hugged me. My mother handed me a gift. "You look beautiful," she said. "Thanks. I feel renewed." We sat, whist, laugh. Igor got up to a toast. "Daisy," he said, lifting the cup. "To the woman of grace, forgiveness and strength." Everyone broke their hands. My mother smiled, triumphantly, as if I had won a war. I raised my glass, I leaned over to the nearest waiter and whispered, "We're ready." Mikhail Viktorovich advanced. His voice cut the air, clear and formal. "Igor Alexandrovich." Everyone turned around. "To the Lord." Extended the envelope. Igor blinked confused. "What is that, fucking?" "Divorce." I got up, unfolding the list of accusations. Fraud. Deviation of funds. Misappropriation. Olga arrested. "What?" "Sit," I ordered, dry. My mother jumped out of the chair. "Daisy, what are you doing?" "Revealing the truth." I acted to the operator. The projector turned on. Security cameras images, Igor and Olga in the elevator of a hotel. A kiss. A room. Room service. A murmur toward the table. Then came transfer prints, emails, and finally, audio. My mother's voice filled the hall relentlessly. "Daisy must not move. She can't find anything about the inheritance." My mother paled. "Turns off that." "No, we're just starting." I turned to Natasha. "You helped hide everything. Lied in my face." "I didn't know." She stammered. "You knew." Then I looked at the man he had called his father. "And you allowed them to destroy me." He looked down. I slid the last envelope through the table. What is that? He asked, hoarse. Result of DNA examination. Opened. Read. Froze. You're not my father. My mother stifled a scream. Surprised, I completed. This is what happens when a life is built on lies. Truth always finds a way out. The silence that followed was so dense that you could hear the crackling of the candles. I smiled. Happy birthday to me. Every detail, I confirmed, even the guest's arrangement to the table. Andrei finally broke the silence, the trembling voice. Maybe everyone should calm down? I turned to him deliberately. Andrei, you knew everything and shut up. So feel and be quiet. Behind me, the projector displayed the last slide, bank statements, showroom records, and a notarized document proving that Igor had transferred 500,000 rubles from our joint account to the Olga business. I turned to my sister. You owe me 1.5 million. She shook her head, her lips shaking. I didn't know. You knew. My voice cut the air like a blade. He said it was a gift. But you knew. Just didn't call. Igor swallowed, the broken voice. You're destroying everything. Why? For the truth. I smiled, cold. For me. From the shadows, a man of impeccable suit emerged. Igor blinked, confused. Who the hell are you? Igor Alexandrovich Volkov? The man didn't smile. Senior of the Criminal Investigations Department. We have some questions about the back of your wife's account. My mother poured her hand on her chest. Did you call the police? Not yet. I adjusted the glass on the table. But they are watching. Especially interested in your succession agreement, Mom. Her face paled like chalk. You don't dare to play it. I dare, yes. I leaned forward. When you use an inheritance to hide assets and manipulate your own daughter, the law is by my side. My father finally said, the hoarse voice. Margarita. This has passed the boundary. I looked at him without expression. You're not even my father. Your opinion here is worth nothing. He shuddered as if I had slapped him. The investigator extended a card to Igor. We are waiting for you tomorrow in the department. He left. The silence that was so heavy that it seemed to suffocate. Jean, pragmatic, cough. Ah, the leafy. She smiled, almost predatory. I forgot to mention, I bought the rental contract of your showroom last week. Olga raised his head, wide eyes. What? Now is mine? Including all debts in your name. Jean joked with his cell phone. My lawyer will contact. Olga rose so sharply that the chair toppled. You can't just get everything out of me. You took my husband, my money, my family. I got up, Serena. And did you think I was going to bend? Tears ran down his face. I didn't want to. Too late. Igor took a step towards me, his hands extended. Rita, listen. We can solve this. Fix everything. Laugh, a dry laugh, without humor. Do you think this is negotiation? I screwed up, I know. But I still love you. You don't know what love is. He grabbed my wrist. I retreated, instant. Tap me again, I said, and add assault on the list of accusations. He froze. I traveled the hall with my eyes, slow, deliberate. All of you lied. Everyone knew. Everyone let me sink. No one dared to lift his eyes. They taught me to shut up, to be ashamed. I adjusted the bag on the shoulder. Now I teach the consequences. I drove on the way out. Jean followed me without hesitation. Igor shouted on my back. You will still regret it. I stopped. I turned just enough to take a look over my shoulder. No. I smile, cold. You go. The door knocked behind us as the end point of a chapter. Outside, the air was fresh. I walked to the alley in the back of the restaurant, leaned against the wall and opened the nécessaire. Lipstick in place. Look clear. Firm hands. I smiled at my reflection in the compact mirror. The consequences did not take long. When I got home, the phone vibrated non-stop. Igor. Olga. My mom. Even Natasha, who had ignored me for months. I didn't answer anyone. Instead, I served a glass of wine, kicked my shoes and sinks on the couch. Jean already flipped the nets on his cell phone. Friend. She raised the device. It's already on the internet. A Telegram channel will publish, scandal in restaurant, showroom owner involved in fraud and coined betrayal. Olga's face stamped the headline, undone, the smudged mask. Igor's name in bold. Mine was not mentioned, but any known would add 2 plus 2. I opened the email. Mikhail Viktorovich had sent new documents. Subject: Inheritance. The final nails. Inside, scans proving how my mother had diverted funds from family heritage to Orange accounts, with Igor as silent partner. All illegal. I referred to my lawyer. The answer was instantaneous. We have the basis for blocking assets and entering civil proceedings. Ready? I typed. Burn the bridges. At noon, Igor kept calling. I let the phone vibrate until the battery exhausted. Then came the messages. We need to talk. You are destroying everything. Sorry. Damn, Rita, at least answer. From Olga. Please don't do that. I swear I didn't know the money. I didn't answer. Instead, I went to showroom. The showcases, covered by brown paper. At the door, a warning, closed for inventory. But I knew the truth. Jean had already begun the absorption process. The location was hers. The debts, astronomical. The dream, finished. Enter the key. Semivazya's shelves. Hangers with overvalued parts. The sweet smell of vanilla candles trying to mask the stench of failure. Open the drawer from the back. Olga kept receipts there. On the wall, pictures of her and Igor smiling on yachts, beaches. I pulled one by one. At night, Mikhail V. Iktorovich called. You won't believe it. The voice had a tone of professional satisfaction. Her husband tried to transfer the funds to an offshore, but used a scheduled account. The bank called the alert. He is being tracked. Tomorrow, interrogation at the police station. Smiles. Perfect. At night they knocked on the door. Igor. Open only with the current. He was misaligned, beard to do, deep dark circles. The whole varnish had peeled. Margarita. He started, his voice hoarse. Please. Silence. I didn't want it to be that way. I was wrong, but that's too much. I looked at him. You never loved me. I was just on the way. He reached out. I backed away. Don't you feel anything? He whispered. I feel, yes. I adjusted the current. Fear. But it's yours. He did not argue. Olga is bad. Don't eat, cry all the time. You destroyed it. She destroyed herself. I closed the door a little more. It was your sister. Now it's just another person I stopped protecting. He stared at me for a long moment. You're no longer the woman I married. Thank God. He turned and down the stairs, dragging his feet. I didn't see him leave. The next day, Jean and I met in a coffee. She already laughed before sitting. Your mother freaked out. He called me thinking I could make you get into the line. I raised an eyebrow. And what did you say? That you are busy building an empire. She took a sip of coffee. She called you a villain. I bit the sandwich. Light. Oh, and your ex-country Sergei moved. Jean lowered his voice. After that DNA scene, it disappeared. Your mother is losing control. I leaned back in the chair. It was time. Jean studied me. And you? How are you? I don't know. I looked out the window. But I'm free. At night, I lit a candle in the room. The same vanilla with coconut that Olga loved. I watched the flame, then deleted her. I was in silence. Then I went to the hall mirror. I looked at me. No disguises. No submission. Just me. On Friday, the showroom was officially closed. Jean sent a picture, chains at the door, an orange warning of attachment on the showcase. Caption, and so it goes. PUF. I didn't answer. I just watched the screen, then I turned the cell phone. An hour later, Igor erupted in my office without hitting, as if he still had that right. Rita, us. We need to talk. I didn't lift my eyes from the notebook. His voice was a scratch on the wall that I had already painted again. You need to leave. I won't go anywhere until you hear me. I got up. 30 seconds. He closed the door, ran a hand through his hair as if he still had the right to crumble in front of me. I'm losing everything. The business, the accounts, the reputation. I should have thought before. I didn't stole anything. You forged my signature. His mouth opened and closed like that of a fish out of water. I got around the table. I was before him. You lied. Betrayed. Used. And now is it surprised by the consequences? I didn't think you were capable of that. Precisely. None of you found. He stepped forward. I screwed, but I still love you. Laugh. An air-free laugh. You don't even know what love is. Rita leaves. It didn't move. Then I opened the door tightly and repeated, louder. The eyes of the employees in the neighboring offices turned to us. Igor cleaned his teeth, but left without saying anything else. I locked the door, turned the key. At night Olga called. I hung up at the mailbox. Then the message came, please, just talk to me. I'm bad. I stared at the screen, the real fingers. So I called Jean. She says it's bad. It was great when she had sex with her husband. I know. Don't let the guilt come in now. You warned. I nodded, even though she can't see me. I won't answer. Right. Let her cook in her own poison. The next day, I went to my mother's house without warning. She opened the door in a drain of silk, wrapped hair, swollen eyes. Finally, he said, as if I were the sentence that waited it. Carrasca arrived. I didn't start. She backed away, letting me get in. The room looked like after an explosion. Spreaded papers, empty glasses, a plate with untouched cheese. Sergei moved, he announced, as if it was my fault. I heard. Does not answer my calls. He says he is ashamed. As it should be. His face burned. Always needed to be the saint, the perfect one. Do you think it's better than everyone? I think I was the only one who didn't lie. Her lips trembled. You embarrassed the family. No. You did that when you chose to protect Olga instead of me. She's fragile. It's selfish. It's your sister. No more. My mother's voice failed. You destroyed everything. I looked around. No. I just took the masks. She sank on the couch, aging 10 years in a second. What do you want from me? Nothing. I came to say goodbye. Farewell. I ended up, Mother. With all of you. Are you serious? Absolutely. I turned my back and left. She didn't follow me. At night Jean and I were at my counter, looking at the city's lights shed on the asphalt. You burned everything, she observed. How it is. I took a deep breath, as if it were the first time in a decade. Jean smiled, almost poetic. I'm not trying to be poetic. Only finally honest. Let's lift the glasses. By honesty. The next morning Mikhail Viktorovich called. Igor was officially accused. Fraud, falsification of documents, diversion of funds. You'll probably make a deal with the prosecution, but the business is over. Blocked accounts. Excellent. And the Olga is bankrupt. Showroom pledged, overdue debts. I let out the air. Thank you for everything. Anything. I hung up, looked at myself in the hall mirror. No makeup, no jewelry. Just me. Was it you? The phone vibrated. Olga's message, forgive me. I didn't know how to stop. I just wanted to feel loved. I didn't answer. I deleted the message, hung up my cell phone, went out to the sun and didn't look back. In a silent cafeteria, in the corner of a bookstore where people whispered by habit, I was sitting against Jean. Among us, coffee cups exhaling smoke. Are you sure you want to do that? She leaned. I nodded. It's time. Jean took a small flash drive from his bag. Here everything is, audios, documents, the timeline. Ready to publish. I took the USB stick, put it on my bag. Thanks. Will you still launch the channel on Telegram? Yes. First post next week. I already have the name, they knew. Jean smiled sideways. People will freak out. I smiled too, but my eyes remained serious. She noticed. Are you well? I'm getting used to it. She nodded, comprehensive. This is the hardest. We were silent. Then she added, I found André on the market. I raised the eyebrow, he pretended not to see me. He turned his face fast. I snorted. Coward. Oh, and Natalia was fired. Her office declined to associate with the scandal. Too bad, he said, dry. Jean moved the coffee. Your mother is quiet. With anger and shame, but more shame than anger. She always turned around. I don't play this game anymore. We finished coffee, we hugged the farewell. I went out to Fresca Street, where the city was boil. At home, I sat in front of the notebook. The Telegram channel was ready. Teaser already accumulated views. People loved family dramas, especially the real ones. I read the comments. Some supported, others doubted, some wrinkled their nose. It didn't matter. I opened the USB stick, loaded the first post with the audio. My voice echoed through the speakers. Hello, my name is Daisy. And this is the story of how my family watched me drown and smiled. I heard a few minutes, closed the notebook. Someone touched the bell. I didn't expect anyone. I opened. Olga was at the door, an envelope in his hand. Swollen eyes, hair tied in a sloppy bun. No makeup, no performance. Can I come in? I don't move. I didn't come to fight, he hurried to say. Only. I wrote something. Extended the envelope. I took it, but I didn't invite her to pass. I don't expect you to read. I just needed to put it out. I nodded. She turned, slowly descended the steps. I closed the door. The envelope was on the table. I looked at him as if I could explode. Then I got it, went to the sink, scratched a match. The paper caught fire, the edges closed, the words inside turned grey before I read one. I played in the sink, opened the tap. Some truths are not to be read. They are to be burned. The next morning I went out to walk without phone, without music. Only me and the sound of my jumps on the asphalt. I passed the old showroom. The dusty showcases, the plate hanging sideways. I didn't stop. In the park, I sat on a bench and watched a girl running after pigeons, laughing without break. The mother called her, smiling. I didn't cry, I didn't miss it. I just watched. Upon returning, I found a box by my door. No sender, no address. I took it inside, opened. It was a photo album. Old images, me and old children, birthdays, Christmas trees. On the first page, a ticket with my mother's lyrics. I thought you could want to keep what was good. I closed the album without flipping, I put on the hallway shelf. Not to forget. Not to forgive. Just to see, this existed. At night, I published the second post on the channel. About gaslighting. How people make you doubt your own reality until you stop believing in your name. I ended up with a simple phrase, sometimes healing is not finding peace. It is to recover the voice. I turned off the light, lay on the bed, stared at the ceiling. No pretense anymore. No plea for conditional love. No molding of myself to fit other people's expectations. I didn't need their understanding, I didn't need excuses. I just needed freedom. And now I was free. But it's not about them. Never has been. If these words resonated on you, if any phrase here stuck to your ribs like a hook, don't keep it just for you. Share. Not for me, because you. Because there is someone, somewhere, who needs to hear exactly that today, even if he doesn't know yet. Someone who still bows not to take up too much space, who swallow tears in the work bathroom, who repeats maybe I'm exaggerating like a mantra. You are not alone. He is not alone. And if you want to tell me where this voice that now gets up from a tiny apartment in São Paulo, a small town where everyone meets in the interior of miners, a hostel in Lisbon or a student room in Berlin at 3 a.m. here. It is not idle curiosity. I want to know, who else is waking up? How old are you? It doesn't matter if it's 19 or 52. What matters is that, at some point between breakfast and insomnia, you have decided not to let you know that your pain is invention. Your anger, exaggeration. your self-love, selfishness. Leave your trail. We are between the lines.